Oh, hold on a second. Actually, Phalaris is here. Let's start with that because Phalaris did a pretty cool rundown. Yeah, let's get him in the call real quick. Phalaris had an interesting video talking about this. Let's see. Let's get him in a call. Yo, what up, man?
Yo, what's up? Wait,
how you doing?
Just a sec. I gotta change my sound settings.
You're good.
Recording, playback. Set as default. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Phalaris is one of my coaches at NEACE.gg and is basically, he has his own channel, which you should really check out. It's literally just Phalaris. You can see it right here.
Oh, are you on stream right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. No, you're good. You're good. I called you in kind of at random anyways, just because I saw that you had made this video. Right. Mm-hmm. And I am playing a little bit more jungle right now. I'm bouncing all around in this preseason, just testing things and kind of getting acclimated to shit. And one of the things for me right now is, I don't know if you feel this way yet. And like I said, I kind of have some biases right now because of just let me turn off my music real quick because it's being annoying. I have some biases real quick because where I'm playing, I feel like there's just a lot more tempo, right? I mean, I guess that's obvious, but like the biggest thing for me is that this patch comes out and then it immediately feels to me, it immediately feels like I test Hecarim, have some really, really good games. And the reason the games feel a lot smoother to me is because of that mid-game change. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but when I get rolling now, I don't feel like I'm useless for just like farming.
Oh, wait, which mid-game change? The EXP?
Right, yes. And it didn't seem like some like crazy massive change either. And you pointed it out in your last video. You pointed it out. You were saying that, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But I think it is. I think it's a big... I think in combination with how gimmicky the early game jungle routes were, and maybe there's, you know, maybe there's more to it than meets the eye, because I was saying that like Sylas was just broken in Korea, right? He's basically picked on all roles. Like, I'm not even kidding you. He'll be played mid, he'll be played jungle, he'll be played support. Like, he'll just be picked here, and there's a lot of guys that can play him well. Jungle was the one that was the most egregious. I'm not a good Sylas player at all. I've started playing him, trying to learn him just to have him as a pick specifically for mid, but just realistically, like, just to understand him better and to flow with him a little bit more. But the early game jungle routes was basically just Sylas would take three camps and he would just gank something. Like, it didn't matter where he went. Odds were it was going to work because the health of the clear was, you know, he wasn't really getting that low, and he would just show up, get a kill, and these power farming junglers in the mid game, they wouldn't catch up. Like, it used to be, if you would just farm in the mid game would roll around and you would just catch up to this shit, and then you would be able to kind of
catch up. You'd usually be ahead, right? If we're talking about like season 12, if you actually farm, holy fuck! I need to stop watching your stream. It's so trippy because I have your Discord voice on, and then it's like desync from the screen. Oh
yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Like, EXP this season, at least up until this patch that just came out, was so dog shit for just like a big combination of reasons, right? There's the 25% EXP nerf from minions up until you get your, I think, the first smite evolution, right? And then there's the crows giving less EXP, and then the mid game clearing was actually slower than before because the camps are tankier, and then there was the EXP bug where every single camp was giving less EXP than usual. Right. So I was often like 2 levels lower than I was like normally used to being, because I'd be farming at like 8-9 CS per minute, pretty good KDA, and I'd be 2 levels down on the solo lane. I'm like, what the fuck? Right. Yeah. So I kind of agree with you that it was a pretty big shift to push that EXP up. The reason I said that it wouldn't be that major is because I thought they were just fixing the bug. That's it. Because the bug wasn't that substantial. It was just like, I think that's fair. 0 to 5 EXP lower, something like that, than you were supposed to get. But they overshot. They've made it so that you actually get like 10 to 15 extra experience per high level camp now. So it's a lot more significant than I thought it would be.
Got it. Yeah, my whole thing was like, you know, obviously here in Korea, you've got like, I always talk about the Elise scenario. I played against an Elise last night. I played Nidalee jungle, and these Elise players are very fucking good here. Every time you play against them, it's a very tactical game. And the thing is that they were just out of control on the last patch here, to the point of where, like, if there's Elise on the enemy team, she's going to 3-camp somewhere. And I also found, I don't know if you noticed this too, but the routes were more creative. There was weirder routes popping up. I mean, probably some of these routes existed in the first place, but like Elise, for example, she could just start at bottom. She could just take red, go to golems, go to chickens, and then just go to bottom, which was something that, like, I never saw her do previously, right? Like, I never saw her do golems as like a part of the first clear. Or, you know, unless
pathing is completely different now.
Right.
It is completely different for both gank junglers and farm junglers compared to season 12. Like, most of the paths that are like, there's no new paths per se. It's just that
you can do all of
paths
them.
weren't good enough. Yeah, they weren't like good enough to be seen on a regular, like a standard basis, or there are certain problems with running those paths that are now kind of solved. Like, if we're talking from the easier one to talk about is a farm jungle perspective, right? Just full clears. Right. Because season 12, if you were a full clear jungler, you start on a buff and you clear linearly to the other side. And that's basically your game, right? And every now and then you would mix it up with like a reverse clear or like skipping some camps to avoid getting invaded. But basically you start on a buff and go linear. Now for full clear junglers, there's a lot more options. And that's because of the 330 scuttle spawn, right? You have time to do slightly slower paths. So we're seeing a lot of paths where junglers are starting on raptors or starting on wolves, for example, and doing like raptors, krugs into red instead of starting on the buff, which means that they get a better respawn. And you can do something like raptors, krugs, red into your blue side, scuttle crab, then go back for your raptors, krugs respawn, right? Take those and then recall, and you have like 1200, 1250 gold on your first recall guaranteed. So that type of pathing is becoming super, super common on farm junglers in high elo. If you don't have lanes that you think you're going to be able to gank early, I think that there's even more paths that extend off of that aren't being seen yet, but might develop in like competitive play or higher tier play as people get used to the patch. And that's, if you go back to like this type of pathing hasn't been seen since like season 7 or something like that. The last time Zach was popular, was like actually in the competitive metas, the last time I actually saw this type of pathing, where people would go raptors into wolves, and they would do a path like raptors, wolves, gromp, blue, back into red krugs, or the opposite. They would start wolves and then go to the red side. They would go wolves, raptors, krugs, red into blue gromp. It's very, very similar to the raptors krugs opening, but now you're putting 3 camps on respawn, right? 3 small camps on respawn before doing your buff. And the thing that's so interesting about this is you start on a camp that doesn't lock you in. If you're starting on red buff, you're locked into going to the other side linearly. If you start on blue buff, you're locked into a linear clear to the other side. If you start on raptors, you can actually go towards either side, depending on where you see, like which lane comes to lane late, where you think the enemy jungler is starting based on the leashes. You can actually kind of decide later on. So you could do something like start raptors, and based on where enemy starts, you could go standard raptors, krugs, red into your blue side, right? If you want to be mirrored. If you think he's starting on the same side or pathing towards the same direction, you could actually reverse it right on the raptors and go raptors, wolves, gromp into blue. I know this is getting a little bit convoluted. This is not going to show up in lower elo play, but this is actually relevant for competitive.
Well, it's relevant for me. Play. It's relevant for my game.
It's relevant for you. It is.
The thing is like the fucking around with jungle right now. I feel like there's a lot of things that, and I didn't even include this in my analysis, but thinking about it is like, why am I feeling like these fucking gimmicks are so strong right now? And the reason why is because all the laners were just kind of not used to being cheesed so quickly, and it being like a really effective cheese. I would just bitch. I would just be like, oh, well, fucking teammates are morons. But in reality, they actually kind of had a reason. It just didn't click with me right away. It didn't make sense right away. I was like, why are these guys always dying to every fucking gank? It's because
it's so different, dude. It's so different.
The ganks were coming sooner, and they were coming from the same champions that were cheese ganking, except now the cheese gankers were doing weirder routes, right? Like they were just showing up.
The opposite side of what you expect, right? Like usually if someone gets leashed on red, you expect them to path the other way, but now they go like red raptors, red krugs, raptors, and gank the same side, or like you start
the classic. I was doing this. I was doing this. Like I saw one Elise player do this, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I just went red golems, chickens into bot lane. Just went right down the river and just walked from blue side. Just walked into river, walked straight down. It's like, you're probably gonna get a kill, dude. If they're pushing, like, you're gonna get a kill, and the other jungler can't cross map you in time. If you just get a kill, duck into the brush, and run straight to your top side, like, they can't do shit. It doesn't matter if it was a gimmick.
The penalty on invades, right? Doing less damage to enemy camps, plus how tanky the camps are.
Right.
Like in season 12, if you did something like that, because you could do this, and some junglers would do this in high level play, but it would be very, very situational compared to what it is now. Right. But now you gank your starting side, it doesn't fucking matter, because the enemy jungler, if he runs into your blue side to try to take your blue gromp, he can't double camp it anymore. And it takes him fucking forever, and you could just slam your recall and run straight out and kill him. And at most, he gets one camp. That's it, right? If he even gets one. Whereas in the past, if you did something like that and ganked on your starting side, there was a very, very high chance that the guy just runs in there, double camps your blue gromp, and you lose 2 camps for it, right?
So let's talk about the implications of this, because I feel like I'm getting a handle on it, and I feel like I'm kind of understanding it. And in my test last night, like I'll show you, I think I'm finally getting some wins from jungle, because jungle has been just like a pain point for me this season, right from the jump. Like I just could not win in the jungle. So like you could see, like I'm getting some good wins on Hecarim, and then the Nidalee game, I started this Nidalee game like 3-0. This is like a winnable Nidalee game too. Sylas game even is possibly winnable if I'm better at Sylas, and even this Hecarim game is possibly winnable. And I feel like a lot of this boils down to, like right here, like this is the 9.6 CS game, right? Like I'm able to finally like have a game where like farming kind of makes sense. But the thing is that I don't even feel like, because I feel like I still have to be very dynamic. Like I can't just,
playing in Korea.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess we go back to NA and we jump on a fucking a call with some NA clients. I suppose that they could probably just autopilot it, right? And like, but I don't know, man. Like I when I'm testing these routes out and these clears out, it definitely feels like, I don't know if you would say the same, but it feels to me like there's a bit of it feels like there's a bit of RNG now in the early game, and I don't know how to mitigate other than to like try to get like a cheeky ward deep in enemy territory, but that's about all I can really do, because again, the paths are so fucking crazy that like, okay, sure, before your teammates wouldn't guard the entrances and that sucks, but like now it feels like if teammates don't ward for certain situations, it just feels like you're fucking gambling a lot of the time, unless you just take a 3 camp yourself, or like I think I remember in this game I was just I did some sort of early gank or something. It just feels like it's very RNG, right?
I don't know if RNG is the right word for it, but I know exactly what you mean, right? The flexibility of pathing has opened up, which means it's much harder to predict where people are actually going now. Right? Before you could just go like, okay, he started this side, he's gonna like be careful around 230 on the opposite side, right? And you would kind of have some sense of where people are, but I agree with you that it's kind of different now, where because it's so much more flexible, it's a lot harder to just kind of like ping a spot and go like, yes, this is where the enemy jungler is likely to be. Please back off.
I want to show you something. I want to show you something. This is exactly what I mean with like, this is just me like winging it in the jungle early game. Last night I played an Italy game, and like I said, I honestly think I could have won this game just with some better spears and maybe some better decision making in like the mid game. But I think the early game went pretty well. If this will load. Hold on.
Oh, I want to show you this. Is this current patch?
Yeah.
Oh, it should be.
I'm grinding, dude. I'm playing a lot right now. Yeah. I'm like getting my muscle memory down.
The current patch, because it just came live on NA. Like,
oh, it's okay. So I'll give you the. I mean, I'm already telling you my opinions on it, but like, really, what it boils down to me is that you are incentivized to take something like Hecarim and clear. This game, I think I had the choice. I had the choice between like Nidalee, and I think I had the choice of Hecarim. But I felt like, and you know, this is one of those things, and feel free, by the way, if I say anything that you think's dumb or whatever, you can kind of treat this as like pseudo coaching too. But like, I had the choice. I think I was last pick. I said, you know what? This is one of those games where if I just play Hecarim and try to passively do my thing, right? The lane states are just so unstable, in my opinion, right? You've got this fucking Aatrox into Camille, and which is going to be Elise. Katarina into Fizz, which is also going to be with Elise, right? So the pretty aggro lanes, I would argue, or can be aggro. Maybe not top as much, but I think... I
just fucking hate Nidalee on this spot. Like, I would absolutely pick Hecarim over Nidalee.
Yeah,
you have no setup for you. Like, what are you
that
doing
was my... Yes,
here?
and dude, it's so funny because that was the mid-game problem that I ran into. But I still think I could have played it out. I could actually show you the spot where I fucked up, and you see what I mean. But I agree. When the mid-game rolled around, that's literally what went through my head. It was funny you said setup. Because watch the open, and I'm not gonna show the enemy's vision here, just because like I want to show you like I said, it's like a tactical battle early. Even at this MMR, it was like a very weird. Let me make this big for a second, just for the replay.
All I can think when I'm looking at this is like you're tossing spears, nothing's gonna hit. You have no setup at all, and eventually Cat's gonna just like fucking pentacade
that kind of not really like it. Not until the mid game does that happen. But the reason it happens is kind of because I'm retarded a little bit. Honestly, I think that I could have carried it. I'm pretty good, or I used to be pretty good at Nidalee. I'm obviously rusty right now, but like I used to play a lot of Nidalee.
Which map was that? I didn't see.
I went with the red one.
Oh, I hate the red one right
it's
now.
Just the high. It's the high win rate one for Nidalee at the moment, and I was just going based on data. I wasn't really. I mean,
it does have some synergy with her, right? Because if you can like get the slow on your autos, and you can set up your spear, so like you can run it on her. I just think that the red smite is like so weak compared to the other two right now.
Would you go blue here? I like blue, period. In general, I don't like green at all. But
green, I think is situationally good if the enemy team has just strong.
And
CC,
it got nerfed right now.
First things like that, yeah. And then blue is just almost always good to me. Like it's just so fucking good for cross mapping. But I can see red on Nidalee because it helps you set up your spears.
I don't want you to see. Why can't you see Elise? Hold on a second. That's bullshit.
But you have a ward there, bro.
Oh, I have. Okay, I was
you put a ward down.
It was my ward too. It was my ward. I forgot about that. You have a ward there, bro. Okay, so check this out. So I wanna talk about this. So I figure out, and here's the other thing, dude. This is what I mean with RNG. She happened to be here, okay? I saw an Elise the other day go red, wolves, avoid this ward altogether. So I tried to, I don't know if I did it this time. I saw an Elise try to sneak by this ward. You see this? And go to Gromp.
Well, why do you ward in the bush though? You can just drop it between blue and Gromp.
Well, now, yes, that was what I meant. Like I think I was afraid early in this particular game because I didn't W start. That was the other thing. Can you start W on Nidalee? I feel like it's okay. As long as you get a leash.
I'm not sure. If you get a strong leash, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know.
Anyways, the point is that now Elise will go like red, wolves, Gromp, and like gank. I've seen that happen. They just skip blue. And I think that just gives them, again, flexibility, right? So if they go, oh no, sorry, it was red chickens.
Yeah, that's like the standard path for.
Well, I've never seen that on Elise.
Of all of season 12 for Elise.
Oh, really? I never saw that on Elise. I always would see them just do like, you know, red, blue. I mean, this is basically what this guy does.
Man, bro, that's like fucking season 5.
But I mean, that's what I mean. It's like this Elise does like what I thought. See, she just takes the cone and just takes blue and then takes a Gromp, and then I think she's gonna march across is what she winds up doing. And then we get into this like funny tactical early game bullshit of me being afraid to start my red because if you get cocooned here, it's just bad, right? And then
I mean, you can also just Raptor start on like go straight for red if you want to move to top, but if you really want to full clear, then you can go Raptor Scruggs red here.
So then the situation here, right? And I wanted you to look at this and like you have to think Elise is diving here, right? Like this has to be what she's always gonna do.
She knew you started bot side, right? Because you
but this is Korea, so they pretty much always. And this was the spot like you could see. It's like she just pops up. I wondered about this in hindsight if standing here is worse than standing here. Do you know what I mean? Like standing in the...
Oh, I know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I fucked this up by showing. Even though I thought I was like being... I thought I was being clever. But in reality, I feel like I ruined this by standing here and not on this fucking... on this little lip. But she shows...
I wonder if you could have just stood like towards the upper wall, to be honest.
What do you mean? Up there?
Like... Yeah, like literally up there, because she has that ring of vision, right? Like she's not gonna see.
Oh yeah, let's look at that. Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at that. That's a good point. I like that idea. I mean, I clearly knew she was coming. You see me just sitting there.
Yeah, like you can kind of sit. You see that where that torch is? You could probably sit there if you know she's coming in that direction. But you weren't spotted, right? Until
no. Well, I was when I threw the spear, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess either spot is fine.
I just hate that I'm visible. It pisses me off.
I don't know why you did the raptors over the red if you knew you're gonna play for like a 2v2 counter dive top though.
What do you mean?
Because you can just skip the raptors, do the red, right, and have red for this play.
Yeah, I guess I could. I guess I could. I felt like I don't know. I guess my logic at the time, it's funny you bring this up. I think my logic at the time was like, if she decides to play for the red, I'm okay with it. And I wanted to fight over the red, but I don't know if that's a retarded way of viewing it or not. I suppose it probably...
I would have been more worried about, like you said, the top lane, because there's a like fat fucking slow push coming into the Aatrox, and it's in the lease, so...
Oh, so you mean back here?
Yeah, just doing like blue Gromp Wolves into red.
Yeah,
like...
no, I get that. I meant like I should have identified it, like I should be looking at it, so like right... here, I should be looking at it and probably saying like...
It is fucking massive, so... At that point, I don't know what the point of clearing the Raps is, unless you're like some full clear jungler like Udyr. Then you, yeah, of course, you do Raptors into Krugs into red.
I like that. I like that too. I guess she can't get over there fast enough if I just do 3 into red.
Into red,
right? And she crosses over. Enough. Yeah, I think
you have a strong ball leash too.
I think that's true. That's true. I think the outcome would be the same too, because she never comes into my red. Let's look at that timing actually. I don't know, man. Phil. Brother.
Here, 235.
Well, what I mean is if she just crosses into my red, like if she just runs across, I'm scared that maybe. I don't... I'm really...
Actually, maybe you'd be
I'm
too
really
slow.
skeezed. Well, that's the thing, is I don't know. That's why we're talking through it. I'm not pretending to know, dude. This is a new patch. This isn't me, like, insulting intelligence. I'm legitimately... I was concerned.
Because they nerfed pet damage this patch, right? They nerfed the base damage by 4. So I'm not actually... maybe you would actually be too slow. Then you would have had to skip the
I'm not trying to hindsight hero this either when I say this. I kind of opt for the chickens just to get rid of the camp, but also because of the AoE damage, right? The AoE damage for Nidalee on this transition is pretty good.
Much faster than the red buff, yeah.
I just don't know how fast. Now, we could obviously have a debate on like, okay, NEACE, well, you just put a trap here, right? Like you put a trap here and then you kite the red to the right. But even still, I don't know. I don't
flip it, like, because you don't have prio top, you don't have prio mid. There's no way that I want to flip a red fight. So it really comes down to, can you get the red down before she actually arrives? And that's what I actually don't know in hindsight, because I don't know the clear times on this patch that well.
I think I imagine my clear is not as good as it could be, because again, I'm rusty on Nidalee, and this was kind of a pick of like, all right, this is this is one of those games where I don't want to play Hecarim right into an Elise, but either way, right, now that we're here, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, okay, if she, and this is, by the way, this is like PTSD, and it's not even for me, it's every jungler that I have on my team. They die here. I just seen it. Like, she just comes across and they like fuck with them. The thing is though, is I wasn't sure. So when she moves, she finishes right.
I mean, when did you see her show up on the blue ward? You could have also skipped wolves, no? And just gone blue, like,
I like that idea. Red. Yeah, that idea is cool.
If you're like really trying to match into top side, since to defend a dive. Depends how early you saw her. But I mean, like, her doing red blue Gromp or red Raps Gromp into top is kind of expected either way. So if you're rushing up there, then
there's no rule that says that I have to take wolves either. I could just literally do Gromp. and run right across.
It's standard to take the wolves just to clear out the quadrant, but if you need to rush to the other side, then you skip them, right? It depends on the lane state top. And I think if you were looking on Gromp, there was clearly like a large slow push coming into the Aatrox already. Can you rewind? Like, did we see her starting on red, the bot leash? I wasn't really paying attention.
I think I did, because I've gotten into the habit of checking. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I've got a fucking min-max on this server, dude. I gotta like turn my ass off. I think I did check. It may have been this game or it may have been another game.
Yeah. Camille was in the bush. Okay.
Well, it's this. So you knew. Yeah, I knew. Well, that right there was the tell, and so I mean, and then the ward. So I already knew roughly what was going to happen, and that was why I was up there in general. But yeah, I think optimizationally speaking,
like pause here. Like as you finish the Gromp, I just want to see the top lane state.
Oh, hold on.
Because that's usually when you'd be checking, right? Like as you're finishing this up. Yeah, I feel like you.
It's a flip. It's a flip. So you can't know yet when you're starting wolves.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed yet. I mean, you know, Camille has advantage here, so she's going to slow push into Aatrox.
I don't think Camille has advantage.
Fucking sucks level 1 to 3. He's going to get slow pushed in by a lot of champs.
I don't think so. Camille?
Aatrox? Yeah.
Camille? No.
Aatrox at low levels kind of sucks.
So does Camille though. She doesn't got to do anything.
Watch their trade.
Well.
His cooldowns are so long early, dude.
But what I'm saying is that he doesn't. I guess what I'm saying, dude, is that he doesn't have to give the fucking push. He could just push and get 2. The Camille can't do anything about it.
By Elise?
I know, I get that, but that doesn't apply on this server. And just so you know, that doesn't apply. You say, oh, but he gets ganked by Elise. No, dude, like either... That's actually funny you say that, because if I saw that, there's some times where I would take wolves and I would just start running across, even if I was going to be kind of late, because I know that he's going to fight it. Does that make sense?
My understanding, I don't have a great understanding of Aatrox, but my understanding of the matchup from the Aatroxes I've seen is that the majority of matchups he gets pushed in level 1 to 3, and then he plays the bounce.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
He's down Ignite. Like he can't really trade into her.
That's fair. That's fair. He doesn't have Ignite. I guess if he had Ignite, he would do it. But yes, I was just pointing out that like I played against Aatrox enough to know that he could absolutely, if he wants to fuck with you early and he wants to battle for 2 just to start being a cockbag, because he's like, well, I'm S+ tier champ, so I'm just gonna push into you and whatever happens happens. They do this a lot. But yes, I agree. If he's not running Ignite, he's probably never gonna do this. And any top laner worth a brain at all is probably just gonna eye roll and let it push, because you said it. This I feel like this has more implications over the than the actual, because Camille's, she's pretty whack. Like she can W, but if Aatrox starts rounding off Qs, he can get the push anytime he wants, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like if he wants to push, he can. You can't really slow it down.
I feel like he just gets chunked so hard if he goes for the push, because his Q cooldown is just so fucking long.
No, she's not gonna do anything. She's just gonna space it. Like, so he's gonna auto this, and he's gonna get the push, and Camille can try to auto it back, but he's just gonna dance around. The only thing he's gonna tank here is he's gonna tank Camille W. That's all he's gonna tank. So like if he wants to push into Camille specifically, yes. Honestly, I'm afraid to push into this guy, as a lot of champions anyways, just because dodging Qs is just obnoxious, even though they come out late, right? Like you're not wrong. They do come out late.
No, I'll see to you on it, because I don't really play top, so that's just my understanding of Aatrox from what I've seen of his matchup. So I don't have like in-depth understanding.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. He's doing the right thing. Just letting this happen I'm playing off of him. Right? Like I definitely appreciate what he's doing, because I'm not gonna let him get dove for free. I felt like this was gonna be a high value lane anyways. I felt like the whole game was gonna hinge off this lane. I felt like as long as I don't let him die. You can do for the other lanes. Well, as long as I don't let him die, then Yumi's gonna sit on him. This is a problem later. Like I'm not gonna blame teams, but like later we don't get any value out of this guy. Like she doesn't sit on him at all. But that was my rationale at the time. Like it was you know, it was just that. But interesting. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bit of a, you know, it's a stalemate. We just kind of chill. And again, I'm still playing the mind games of like, I'm afraid that Elise will invade me, because they always do, right? She steps on a trap here. These players are pretty good, so, you know, she knows kind of what I'm thinking. And I try to get out of the vision of the cone. And then I start doing my red. I'm still like, it's cheesing so common that like I am even checking that bush before I start my red, which may be overkill, but
I think the Q was overkill. Just dropping the trap because you have double trap is fine.
Right.
It's a bit slower now. I mean, this opening is okay. Like you're out farming.
Yeah. So it does it. I was very happy with the exchange, but I think we both agree that it probably could have been smoother optimization of like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I even hate it in terms of the timing of it. Right?
I mean, like, of course, like if she dove and you were in Fog of War and you like came and cleaned up, that would be a better opening, right? But in terms of trading with the least, like you're up on her here.
The pathing, the pathing was cool. I think now I really like your idea of like hiding up here. I also like the idea of sitting here too, and then just following if she shows. Does that make sense? Like come from that bush.
Yeah, I just don't know if you have enough time from that angle.
Yeah, right.
Onto the Aatrox is going to be so fucking fast with Camille Elise.
Is this common? High yield players do this a lot? This little like...
No, it's just something that came to mind.
Well, it's good with a spear. That's why I'm curious. It's very good with a spear.
Because it's like the angle that they hug, if they're coming through that bush, like that ring of vision just isn't going to see past the torch.
Yeah. So this open was basically... I think I might have showed briefly. Just a fucked up mistake if I did. I was trying to just shadow this. Oh, I was on vision anyways. Interesting. Didn't have sweeper either.
What's happening in the lane? I can't even see.
Oh, sorry. It's just this. He's gonna start pushing out. So I'm kind of like, I think I showed it, but at this point I was already spotted anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're just helping him on the bounce. That's fine.
Yeah, I keep trying to not show to make it like, oh, maybe she backed, right? Like that was my, but obviously they spotted it, but. But I just watched, like I thought about this open last night and before I went to bed and I was like, this seems pretty high level. Like the whole exchange seemed pretty, I don't see this very often. Like it just last year, the Nocturne climb to Masters. I don't think I ever had to think this hard. And I think that's because, I mean, obviously it's Nidalee versus Elise on this server. But the other thing is just like in general, I never felt as pressured to have to think about my movements quite so much in the early game. And this whole open, like, and they're backed. So like,
I mean, to be completely fair, though, there's nothing that happened in this early game that was relevant to Season 13 changes. Like, this all could have happened Season 12.
Right.
I think this is just server difference.
Right.
Where
the
people are
gap.
actually just, like, aggressive and they dive much more heavily.
Right. If you're not a part of it, then
there's nothing,
you're...
like, pathing-wise that wasn't, like, a same-side gank or anything. It was the same thing.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It wasn't like, ooh, let me just gimmick blue wolves Gromp and just, like, walk up here or anything like that. No, but... I just thought that was an interesting open. You can see my throw if you want here. This is what you're talking about before we move on. It's like just skipping some details a bit here. It's when my first death. Hold on. Maybe it's there. Oh, yeah. I think this was it. So this was the setup thing. Okay. So they drop a rift. I'm 4-0, right? This is what I mean. Like, this game is completely... I could win this game, I think. Even with no setup.
Sure. From this position.
Yeah. So here, watch. My only setup, and this was the problem, the Katarina scenario. I'm overthinking this, right? You basically nailed it. It's like, well, if you miss the spear, then she just does shit, right? So right here.
If you miss the spear, you just back out. Okay.
Right. And see that? I miss it because I'm like, I don't know, man. It gets chaotic, right? And I don't see this fucking lockup. Watch how I die, by the way. I'm so fucking annoyed. Watch. So I'm playing it tactically, right? I try to get the Yuumi out. Right? I get ulted. Now watch this play.
Oh.
Now watch.
Wait. I guess it's like partial in the wall. What the fuck?
It's bullshit. I said it on the stream. I said it's bullshit. Like, what the fuck? I thought my idea was okay, but whatever. You know, it's just, there's too many interactions in this fucking game. But the bigger problem, in my opinion, was, this is what I would tell a coaching client, right? Is I wasn't layering the Yuumi ult at all. Like, I wasn't, I honestly was just spearing cold, trying to hit her. I wasn't playing off of the root, right? So it's 1, 2, 3. It's 4 or 3? For the root on
it's
Yuumi.
3, no? 3 waves on Yuumi. Is it not? Good check.
This kind of pissed me off in hindsight. All right, ready? Let's watch it. 1, 2.
Yeah, when they're struck by 3 waves.
3. Oh.
Yeah,
she dodged that last one. She dodged the last one. 3. There's the root, and there's the spear. If spear hits, she dies. See, she would be dead there.
Can you
and
not kill her regardless, even without spear landing? Like, I know you don't have any power, but you have your smite up.
I'm maybe a bit well close. The problem is I think in the moment my judgment was just like, if I go for this, she just hopped. Like, if I try to dash in, she's gonna hop to dagger. Was like, you know, in the hot seat moment. Yeah. And I was trying to protect shutdown. You clearly see me trying to not get killed. Like, I didn't just autopilot into it, right? I guess even trying to pick up the Yuumi was the mistake, honestly. I should have just ran away and not even risked it. It feels like
how did this position even open? Like, this map position. It's so weird that you have. How did all these guys sneak into your jungle? Because I'm looking at your map vision, and it's like you have like a line of wards like horizontally across the map. So I know. How did that position even happen?
I don't know. I remember. You know, I was being very, very delicate the entire game. Like, you saw the path thing. Yeah. You saw the pathing from the early game. Like, I was being very, very delicate. I was trying very, very hard to not make an embarrassing Nidalee game. And I started out, you know, 18 minutes. I think I did a pretty reasonable job of like managing the Elise problem, right? Like, that was my whole goal going into this game, was like, do not let Elise do Elise things, right? Match it, understand it, like navigate it, whatever. And I felt pretty confident that I did a good job. Like, here, the rotation, like defending, felt really fucking good. Ezreal bases, ults down mid, right? Like, I got this Fizz coming in here. And Fizz doesn't have ult, and I know that. It's a really good spot. Like,
sneaky from Camille. I do want to say, coincidentally, if you had fucking Blue Smite, you would have been here like 2-3 seconds faster.
Did I have it evolved yet? Yeah, I do.
You had evolved. Blue Smite is just so crazy on these cross-map type plays, whereas Red Smite's value is like not great. Yeah, I can understand your thought process. I mean, she has Nashers. I feel like at 4-0 with your Night Harvester, you could have just W'd in even without the Empower, but I don't know. I don't have a good read on damage.
It's very quick. Like, Katarina's very quick, and this guy is obviously slippery, right? Like, he's obviously good. All these guys that are
he's hopping, but he's hopping. He's canceling his ult. No.
The thing is like it's so funny. I sound like a crazy person when I say this to you in call, but like, I have to give so much more respect to like Katarina's, like Talon's, Aurelia's here. I have to give them like. I have to basically treat them like, if they can dodge it, they probably will. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like on NA where it's like,
oh no, I agree. I absolutely agree. Their mechanics are going to be fucking crazy.
It's like weird. It's because I was looking at this, I was like, maybe I should go for this, but it always feels like when you go for it, look how mobile she is. I might have been able to just eye roll it and jump on this here, but it felt really spooky too.
Flash up, right? You have flash up, and like the thing is, even if you give her the credit and she dodges it, she cancels her ult, so I feel like it's fine.
Yeah, this was a tricky.
Maybe my read on the damage just.
Well, here's the thing: if I'm getting into a point where I'm relying on like some sort of fancy pants mechanic, I feel like I probably messed up. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, like here with the, like the whole thing started like the rotation is easy. This is like an easy play. And I just like hard botched it, in my opinion. Even the fucking Yuumi pickup, like, I feel like, yeah, probably could have just walked it in and got the kill quick.
I mean, to be fair, like,
it's
Camille
so
was not
scary, man.
right now.
The
like,
fucking
Camille's not
shutdown
even on screen right now, so I don't blame you for picking up the Yuumi. Like, I think that was fine. I would not have been thinking like, oh my god, Camille's gonna come out of fog and fucking destroy me here.
I don't know how I didn't see it. I'm usually pretty good at spotting TPs. Let me see it again.
I think she TP'd in top.
He just,
where did she come from?
Look at this bitch TPing. Oh, it's right there. That's why. That's why I didn't jump in.
Oh, okay. I just saw that.
Yeah, I did. No, I didn't see it either. At the replay.
I was like, she must be TPing this.
That's why I didn't jump in. That's why I didn't jump in on it.
Fair.
Because when I saw the TP, I didn't remember why.
Yeah.
Because you were right. When I was looking at this, I was like, yeah, I don't know why I ran. Maybe I'm retarded. But this actually, yeah, I didn't want to give her the shutdown. And she gets it anyways.
That's fair.
She gets it anyways.
Then that's a mistake. Because if you registered that she was there, then no fucking way you go pick that Yuumi up.
That's fair. I thought it was, yeah, because she's going to always E into R, right? Like, it's always coming.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
fuck this
your
game.
team's just a bit behind on the rotation.
Nidalee hard. Nidalee's hard when you pick it like that.
I could have, but you see it. I could have won it anyways. It's not even a Nidalee problem. It was a macro. I honestly don't even think it was a mechanical issue. I think it was just a macro, like, well, kind of a mechanical issue. Not knowing the Yuumi,
brain lag. Yeah,
it's brain lag, but not knowing the Yuumi route. I didn't play for the route. And then next time I see that situation, I will. Right? Because I didn't know. But